Welcome back to the Project Bebop podcast. My name is Aakarsh Jain.
My name is Jain Manandi.
And I'm Gokul Narayan.
Okay, for this episode, we're doing the top 10 shooting guards of last season. And for today, we have our guest speaker, Sid, who's going to be joining us for the next couple episodes as we go down the different positions in the top 10 list of last season. Sid, please introduce yourself and talk about your interest in basketball.
Oh yeah, so my name is Sid Patani, and first of all, I want to start off with thanking you guys for letting me on this episode and giving my insights on my top 10 players. A little bit about my favorite team player. My favorite team is the Houston Rockets, and that's because of my favorite player, who's James Harden. I think he's one of the best offensive players of all time, and definitely the best offensive player today. So yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna right before we go into our top 10 list, we're gonna talk about the NBA ESPN 2K tournament. Me, Aakarsh, and Goku all predicted that Devin Booker would win the tournament, and he did win it against his teammate DeAndre Ayton. Aakarsh and Goku, any thoughts on that tournament?
Our prediction came out true, which was pretty cool. And also, I thought it was really funny that, like, out of the teams that you could pick for playing in the tournament, Devin Booker didn't choose the Suns at all.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And one of the games, someone asked him, "Oh, are you going to use your Suns?" And then he was like, "No, I'm trying to win." It was really funny.
Ooh, that got a sting. Okay. Let's just go right into our list then. We're gonna start from the bottom to the top. So we're gonna start with our 10th best shooting guard of last season, and mine was Jaylen Brown. Aakarsh, Gokul, and Sid, please tell me who your 10th best shooting guard was last season.
Yeah, I had Jaylen Brown last season. Obviously, he capped off the season really well. And he started well and improved from last season. So yeah, I thought he was definitely going to make this list for sure. And obviously, he had that really cool buzzer beater, game-winning three. And I think it was the Rockets, right? So yeah, that was a pretty cool play. And yeah, I think that was a great summary of the season, that one shot. So yeah, what about you guys?
Goku and
Yeah,
Sid.
I also put Jaylen Brown. Similar reasons as you guys. I feel he really helped Tatum step up when Walker was gone for the injury stretch, and then he definitely deserved to be in this top 10. I was thinking about putting him at 9, but I'll explain why I didn't put him later.
Okay, Sid, who was your 10th best shooting guard of last season?
So for my 10th best shooting guard, I also said Jaylen Brown. He had a 20.4 points per game average, 6.4 rebounds per game, 2.2 assists per game, and a 17 point PER. He had a 50% field goal percentage. He was pretty consistent. He's a great scorer. He was reliable in the clutch, definitely, and he has a solid defense, which I saw was a great improvement last year.
Yeah, the difference between Jaylen Brown from the previous season to this season was how he was taking more shots, and he's improved as a defender, and all those contributed into him improving.
He was already a decent defender. Let me add on to that. He was already a decent defender, but this year he really stepped that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to our. Mine was Karis LeVert, and I'm gonna explain why Karis LeVert was better than Jaylen Brown. After Goku, Aakarsh, and Sid tell me who their 9th was.
I put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at my 9th spot.
I also put Karis LeVert.
I put Buddy Hield.
Huh?
Yeah.
At 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
At 9.
I was debating between 10 and 9 for Buddy Hield. But I really saw a great improvement in him. If you see his stats, I feel he's a little underrated because he had 19.8 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game. I know that, but he's a great shooter. He's a great addition to the Sacramento Kings, and 16.37 PER. I really think that he's just getting better overall. If this season, if it finished, I think he just keep on improving, and right now he's doing really good. So
wait, Sid,
Yeah,
we weren't underrating him. We actually put him higher on our list because I thought his contribution to the Kings was really good this year. So yeah,
I put him at 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had him higher too.
I had him at my
The reason
7th
why I
spot.
put
Yeah. Oh yeah, continue.
I I have Karis LeVert ahead of Jalen Brown. I think that's a bigger discussion we should have because Karis LeVert this season, he returned from he had an injury from last I think happened this season. He returned from it like perfectly. He took in the role of the first scoring option, and later towards the end of the stretch, he just showed how much of a like all-star caliber player he is. What he showed during his stretches, I feel like it was better than what Jalen Brown showed me throughout the whole year, and that could be you could kind of count that as bias because Jalen Brown was consistent the whole year, and Karis LeVert had his injury and came back towards somewhere in the last 15-20 games, and he was balling out because he was playing very well. He even like single-handedly, I think he defeated the Celtics in overtime where he scored like
he dropped 50
like 30 points in it.
He dropped 50 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually had
like,
Karis LeVert a bit higher on my list, but on my 9th spot, I put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I really like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His game is like really good. And this season he put up stats like 19.3 points a game, 47% from the field, and 35% from the three. So obviously really efficient and consistent stats. And I just think he's an all-around great player. He's a great passer, and he has good basketball IQ. And just under the wing of Chris Paul, I think he learned a lot this season. And I really like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's game, so yeah, I put him there.
Yeah. Aakarsh, I had I'll say it later, but I have Shai a little higher.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's more of a pure two guard. He's been very good for the Thunder this season, and his impact on his team is why I had him higher than Karis LeVert and like Jalen Brown and Buddy Hield per se. Because like those couple players don't have that high of an impact as Shai. Because without Shai, I'm not sure if the Thunder will be in the same position they are in now, which is like the 5th or 6th seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Just like you were talking about how he returned from the injury, Karis LeVert. That's similar reasons why I had him 9th instead of 10th. Like his stats may not be like it may be a little lower than Jalen Brown's, but from coming back from I think he had a foot injury or something like that. It's really nice to see him recovering, and he was leading the Nets while Kyrie was gone for his injury. So that's why I put him 9th.
Yeah, adding on to that, I mean, he really steps up to for when KD and Kyrie are out, as we know that they both had like injuries this season, right? And he's really helping the Nets win games. We saw that he's getting doubles. And he's really like going on a tear this season. That's what I feel. So.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our 8th best shooting guard, right? I'm getting that number right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had Buddy Hield, Goku, Aakarsh, Sid. Who do you guys have?
I had Karis LeVert at my number 8 spot. I might have some bias since I'm a Nets fan, but I just thought he balled out this season, especially when KD and Kyrie weren't there, just like how Sid said. He really covered for them, dropping like 51 points on the Celtics and stuff, and really doing. He dropped like 30 points or something after the 4th quarter or something crazy like that. It was crazy. He really had some great games near the end of the season after returning from injury. And so, yeah, that's why I put Karis LeVert at my number 8 spot. What about you guys?
I put Shai in my 8th spot. I was debating for a while between him and Buddy Hield, but I felt I gave Hield a little bit of the edge. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had a great season with the Thunder. I think he even had like a really impressive game. It was like a 20-20 and like something like that. And then he was like one of the youngest players to ever do that. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, even though he doesn't average like that many assists, I really think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has good passing ability and good basketball IQ. Yeah. Yeah,
Sid, who do you have 8?
So for my number 8, I chose Zach LaVine. He had 25.5 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, and he had a 19.55 PDR. He's starting to shoot the 3-ball really well, and I think that he's really underrated. I know his team is doing bad, but he was really good in the clutch. He can score from anywhere, and like if he could lead better, if he could lead the Bulls a bit better, I feel that the Bulls really become much better next season.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, Zach Levine's someone I completely forgot, but
Yeah,
I
me
always
too.
mention on the
I can't
mention on this podcast.
I mean,
Yeah, I always mention on this podcast how much I like Zach Levine, but I completely forgot.
I
So
was
yeah, I
just
might have to
thinking,
rework my list.
yeah.
Yeah, guys, there was a mishap. I also forgot Zach Levine. That's on me. If I were to play Zach Levine, he would be in the middle of like he would be probably better than like Buddy Hield
Yeah.
and Shea.
Like he had that.
Yeah.
He's
I
pretty good
always
with
talk
position.
about on this podcast. I always talk about how good Zach Levine is, but I forgot about him on this list. But yeah, anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a human error. Sorry guys for not putting Zach Levine on
it's a
the list.
human.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our next player after that realization for all of us. Yeah, Zach Levine has been pretty good. I think 8th is kind of underrating him.
He's definitely
been
top.
leading that
He's top
Bulls team
7
and-
for sure.
Yeah, he's top 7. And like he's definitely showed his improvement from what he did last year to this year. I think last year he was kind of injured and stuff, but this year he's completely healthy and he's like he's blazing through it. His shooting ability has obviously been better, and he's been playing very well, especially in clutch situations. It just sucks that the Bulls are a trash franchise and they'll have
No, not franchise.
always
You can't say
coach.
franchise.
They're not a trash franchise.
Just trash.
They don't have the best man. They don't have the best management. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that was a little out of line because they're a good
Yeah.
franchise, but like their management right now is
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
trash.
To put it lightly. Okay, yeah. Let's move on. So.
7.
Our 7th.
So, Renee, why don't you say your 7th spot?
My 7th is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, okay. My 7th spot is Buddy Hield. I put Buddy Hield on the 7th spot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I really like Buddy Hield's game. I think when the Kings traded for Buddy Hield, the owner or someone in higher management said he was like Steph Curry.
Yeah,
and
that,
a lot of people laughed at him when he traded for Buddy Hield. But I really think it's a good decision. Like Buddy Hield is really like blossoming into this really good franchise player, franchise star, great second option to De'Aaron Fox, and I really like his game, especially after he won the 3-point contest. We all saw in the grand scheme of things that he's a great shooter, and he might not be Steph Curry level, but he's definitely like Klay Thompson, maybe Paul George-ish 3-point level. And I really like his game. I think he definitely has good basketball IQ. He can shoot the lights out. He's fast, and he knows how to pass a little bit. And he has great sizing for his position. So, yeah, that's why I put Buddy Hield at my 7th spot.
Yeah, Goku and
I also put Buddy
7th.
Hield. I like Aakarsh's explanation. It's somewhat similar to mine. Like when the Kings traded for him, they knew that what they were getting. They didn't hesitate to do it. And then Buddy Hield is like slowly evolving, and he won the 3-point contest this year too, which just shows that how much better he's getting at shooting. Like if he's able to compete with the league's best shooters, so I see like a really good future for him, and hopefully the Kings will be able to get somewhere with that too.
I actually kind of misspoke, but Buddy Hield is actually kind of undersized, like for today's league. He's 6'4", shooting guard, but still, like he lets the other aspects of his game take over for that. But yeah, well, what about you, Sid? Who did you put number 7?
For my number 7, I chose CJ McCollum.
Okay.
He had 22.5 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game. Pretty good stats. He had a 17.45 45, and what I like best about him is his shooting. He's like so consistent, and like on any given night, when I know that when Dame wasn't there, he would be a perfect number 1 scorer if helping the Blazers win games. But what I do think is that he could work a little on his playmaking, and so mainly his efficiency and consistency is what I like about him.
Yeah.
So I kept Shea over who did I keep him over? I kept him over Hield, Karis LeVert, and Jaylen Brown, just because I felt like Shea's impact on his team was higher than those three's impact, because those three have other players on their teams, like Buddy Hield has De'Aaron Fox, Bogdanovich, all those guys. Karis LeVert has Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyrie for some time. He had the whole Nets roster, which is pretty deep. Jaylen Brown obviously had Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, and his Cannon, all those guys. So like, if you remove them, I'm not going to see that much of a drop off from those teams. But if you remove Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I don't know if the Thunder are going to make the playoffs because he was valuable to their success this season. I know there's Chris Paul was probably the most important player on the Thunder, but I feel like Shea had a strong impact with those two duo. That's why their team was better and they performed better. And I have to give Shea credit for being the higher. And also, it might seem a little biased because Shea came from Kentucky and I follow Kentucky basketball a lot because Kentucky's my favorite college basketball team. But you can't say anything about that. You can't undermine Shea's ability to help his team win, and he's a winner for.
Wait, do you think that if they took Buddy Hield off of the Kings would be like near playoff contention like they are now?
Oh, right now they're 11th seed, so they're
but they're in the West. They're in the West.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
what's
the difference between the 11th seed and the 9th seed right now in the West?
Yeah, they're all the same.
Much, right?
Yeah,
they're literally all the same. So
that's kind of
I
true.
think if you took off Buddy Hield from the Kings, the effects would be astronomical because you would only have De'Aaron Fox. You would still have De'Aaron Fox, and you would still have a slew of other good players. But in the tough West, if you took off Buddy Hield from that team's a 14, maybe 12th seed.
Yeah, it's equivalent to removing Shea from the Thunder. Right?
Yeah, I think that's equivalent. But yeah. Buddy Hield's a great player in my opinion. One of my favorites. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our. Oh, Sid, just right before I move on, I feel like you underrated CJ a little bit. Can you explain when we talk about your higher players, you gotta explain to me why CJ is low on your list, okay? Okay. Our sixth best player, sixth best shooting guard of last season. Mine was CJ McCollum, Goku Aakarsh, and
I put Beal as my sixth best.
Beal?
Ooh, damn.
You put Beal?
Yeah. I know what you guys are gonna say. Like he put up great stats this season, but the Wizards really weren't. They really weren't as good as the stats. In a sense, I think his stats were kind of empty because the Wizards were what? Like,
did you put Booker way over him or just like one spot over him? Because Booker and Beal are the same weight.
I put him like 2 spots ahead of him.
Okay.
Yeah. But I see Booker as a younger player who's like evolving better. But okay, anyway, let me explain myself with the Bradley Beal situation that's going on right now. So, I mean, obviously the Wizards don't have John Wall right now, but Bradley Beal is, in some aspects, I think he's better than John Wall. I think we can all agree with that because Bradley Beal, he can shoot the lights out.
Much better. Yeah.
Shooting wise, he's much better. John Wall, I think, is a better leader, right? But I think the Wizards, they could have performed much better, especially with the young core, Rui Hachimura, and Bradley Beal is how old? How old is Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal is not too old, right? Bradley Beal.
Yeah, he's young. He's like 25.
Rui's a rookie, so I thought that the young core would do better than they did. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely still a top 10 shooting guard, but I just thought his team would perform better. And you have people like Tracy McGrady and other analysts just feeling bad for Bradley Beal staying on the Wizards and everything. I think he would be a great fit for the Lakers if the Lakers ever traded for him or something. But I think I think he was a bit underwhelming with the Wizards. Obviously, definitely a top 10 shooting guard in my opinion. But yeah, what about you guys?
Yeah, Goku and Sid, say your
I put CJ McCollum like you were he's shown to be like a great player, not great in like the regular season, but obviously in the playoffs he can't really carry that over. So I thought there was a close competition between him, Booker, and Mitchell. So
wait, you said CJ does not perform in the playoffs?
CJ performs really well in the playoffs.
Whenever you play the Warriors, you see them choke and then they get that's where they used to lose.
That's the Warriors, man.
But that's where they get eliminated. That's the round that matters.
Wait, CJ is better
Did
in
you
the playoffs.
see CJ in the playoffs?
Did you see him in the
Yeah,
playoffs
okay.
against the Nuggets?
They would not have got to that conference finals without CJ, hands down.
That's
But
Hands
you
down.
always see him choke in the round against the Warriors, and that's the round that matters because that's the round that makes him proceed. So like,
it's the Warriors, right? Like they have. I mean, they're like.
with choke
The
being, like,
Warriors have everyone. Everyone chokes against the Warriors. You can't.
no, you can't say that. Okay, but yeah. So going back, I put him, Mitchell, and Booker. Like they're all similar for me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Say your player for 6.
Okay. So for my sixth best player, I said it was Donovan Mitchell. He had 24.2 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists per game, 19.13 PER, and 45% field goal percentage, which is great. He's an efficient scorer. He's a good leader for the Jazz, and the Jazz have a young core, but he makes his teammates much better. His teammates are able to play around him as well. He's good on both ends of the floor, and I feel that he has ability. And together with Rudy Gobert, I feel like they a duo.
Yeah, Sid. I remember you said you put CJ at 7, and then you have Mitchell
Yeah,
at 6.
so the
I guess
main
that makes
reason
sense.
I did that was just
Like,
the Blazers aren't doing as well this season, and the Jazz are better, right? So
The Jazz are the 4th seed right now, so they're actually they're doing astronomically better than the 9th seed.
On top of that, Donovan Mitchell is much younger, and I feel like he can get even better as the season progresses.
Aakarsh, about your Bradley Beal being 6th. Okay, it's not his fault that so there's ways you can see if a team's losing because of a player, and that type of things you can see in the Trailblazers, they're losing because of their whole team is like, if you give the Trailblazers for example, they're losing because their chemistry is off. But if you look at the Wizards, they don't even have the team around Bradley Beal. He cannot do nothing about it. Every day he's going out there. The Wizards drop. They're a top.
They're the worst
defense,
defensively.
They
They don't play any
ever.
defense.
So,
The Wizards do not play defense. And
yeah.
okay, do you think that
So I don't
factors
feel-
into the debate if Bradley Beal's a leader? What would you say about that?
No,
Definitely. I think he's a good
dude,
leader.
look at his team. You can't say somebody's a bad leader because their team is bad. That doesn't, like, if you take it to like the Cavs, right? Like, okay, say
Have
Kevin
you seen
Love.
LeBron? Have you
was-
seen LeBron?
No, like the current Cavs. Say
Yeah.
Kevin Love was the so and so leader. Then you can say he's a bad leader. But like Bradley Beal, he
But
doesn't have
Kevin Love,
team to support him.
Kevin Love never had. I'd say the leader of the Cavs is Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton, okay, but still,
Yeah,
he's not a
I
good leader.
wouldn't say Kevin Love is the leader.
Okay, whatever, but he's not a good leader in that situation, like you're saying. So, like Bradley Beal, it's not his fault that his team is trash. You can't blame it on him for that.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but
Yeah, I totally agree.
I just had higher expectations for like him and Rui. Obviously, their stats wise, they fulfilled those expectations, but I thought they would be a bit closer in the playoff race than they really were, considering they're in the East too.
Yeah, I agree with what Goku was saying about you can't completely blame Bradley Beal, and you can't also tank his ranking. Bradley Beal's a top 3 shooting guard, and there's
Since Clay's
Right,
not here,
in my opinion, he's a top 3 shooting guard because since Clay's not here. So there's all that in factors, but it's fine to reduce a player because his team's not playing that well. You can also put that.
But CJ's in the West. CJ's in the West.
Playoffs, right?
You have to factor that in too.
Yeah.
CJ's in the West, and his team is closer to this. Let's see how many games
no,
apart.
the Wizards are 1 seed behind, but they're like 5 games
Yeah.
behind.
The Trailblazers are 3 games behind the Grizzlies, and then let's see. Then we have the Wizards. They're 6 games behind the Magic in the East as well. So that's why I gave the edge to CJ there. I gave the edge to CJ.
Okay,
Let's move on.
okay, that's fair. We're gonna move on to the next player. I think this is our 5th best player now, right? Yeah, 5th. So my 5th best player was Donovan Mitchell.
Your fifth best player is Donovan Mitchell. My fifth best player, I had CJ McCollum. Um, and I had CJ there for the reasons I said before. Like his team, even though they're the same seeding, his team is in the Western Conference, and they're only 3 games behind the Grizzlies, while Bradley Beal's team, the Wizards, is still competing for a playoff spot, I'd say, but they're 6 games behind the Magic in the East.
Goku and Sid, who do you guys have at fifth?
For fifth, I chose Paul George. I know he's not mainly a shooting guard, but he can play the position. And again, we all know how good his defense is. He's an offensive threat, and he really has good chemistry with Kawhi. So that's why the Clippers are doing so good this season too.
Okay, that also makes sense why you're. I was kind of confused early on. Okay, that's right. Okay, you had Paul George.
We counted Paul George as we counted both Kawhi and Paul George as a small forward because they like interchangeably played those positions. When Kawhi was load managing, Paul George was like primarily the small forward for them.
Yeah,
but it makes sense for sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, Sid, if you want to count. Okay, Sid, if you want to count Paul George as a shooting guard, where you're placing him and the players you still have instead for your top 10 shooting guards, it makes sense that you have Paul George in that spot. But just for us, we kept him as a small forward. Goku, you said you had Booker. So you're saying Mitchell's better than Booker? Because I haven't heard Mitchell already. Okay. One of the biggest dramas on like Instagram and Twitter is like who's better, Booker or Mitchell? And many people try to do the thing where if you switch each other's
it's kind of
teams,
similar,
right?
I
If you
guess,
put
but like
Booker on
Aiden
the
and Gobert are not
They're
really.
definitely similar.
Nothing.
Gobert is obviously better, but like other than that, they're
Yeah, so like if you switch their places, right? If you do that, then like it's not gonna be much of a change because I feel like these two players are pretty equal.
They are, but to me,
in my
Mitchell
head,
just
I
seems
couldn't
better
really
leader.
choose. Okay, so you said Mitchell's a better leader. To me, I feel like Booker has more of a raw.
Booker is definitely a good scorer, but this season he got
Mitchell
70.
lower.
I think the Suns team were without Aiden too, so like he's kind of like, I don't want to say stat padding, but like I just think Mitchell is a better leader because like last season and like his rookie season, he's shown that he could lead a team to the playoffs. Booker has not a chance yet, so.
I mean, I don't think that Devin Booker can't lead the team. It's just that the Suns, I mean, they don't kind of suck.
The Suns aren't bad if you really look at it. Like Aiden is a really good center if you look at it, and then Gobert is obviously much better than Aiden.
Yeah,
Booker should still be closer to playoff contention than he is right now. While the Jazz are like excelling with Donovan Mitchell, so I definitely agree with what Renee said, where he's saying that Booker is like a raw scorer, but Donovan Mitchell is a much better leader because as you can see, the Suns have 26 wins and then the Jazz have 41. So I think the Jazz play better as a team, and I think that Mitchell is an instrumental part of that. Because if you took off Mitchell off the Jazz, then how would they do? How would they do without Mitchell? Because Mitchell is kind of like the glue that's holding them together. If you took Booker off the Suns, they would do even worse. But Booker's the only reason they have like above 20 wins right now.
That's true.
Yeah, true. So we're gonna move on to our fourth best shooting guard. I have Devin Booker.
My fourth best shooting guard is Devin Booker as well.
I put Donovan Mitchell.
Oh wait, no. Wait. No, sorry. My fourth best shooting guard is Devin Booker. Sorry. I made a typo on my list.
Okay. Sid, who's your? Okay.
My fourth best shooting guard, I chose Devin Booker as well. He had 26.1 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 6.6 assists, and 19.8 player rating. He's having like career highs this season, and like he's getting better, and he's young too. He has a lot of potential going forward. The only reason I kept him number 4 though is because we all like the Suns suck, right? And I think he's playing as perfect as the Lakers, right? It's just that his team is really good. So
His team isn't bad though.
Yeah.
His team isn't.
The Suns? Wait, what? You're saying the Suns are
The
good?
Suns?
No, the actual team is not bad. Like, if you look at it,
Wait, what?
Wait,
dude,
what?
they have a good young core. Have you
Wait,
seen?
wait.
They're the team.
What
You're
young
talking about
core?
that
Booker and
Bridges?
Aiden, and what else?
Yeah, and Miles
Please tell me.
Bridges.
Miles Bridges.
They're not. They're not.
I,
They just need to develop. And we've been saying
Yeah,
this for
actually,
listen. We've been saying this for years that their team just needs to develop. And like they keep piling on younger and younger players.
yeah,
I think it's more of a management problem. And every year we just say, oh, these guys have to develop. Every year they get a lottery pick, another good rookie. But their team is just not gelling.
I need to get veterans to just like focus on improving team chemistry for that roster, not adding it on to that. Yeah, Ricky Rubio was.
That's why they got
like,
Ricky
I would
Rubio
say
and Darius
a
Sarge
decent
and Bane.
like decision they made for the first time.
Yeah. So, guys, so we all pretty much stated our opinion.
I
on
definitely
Mitchell
think that
versus
Devin
Mitchell.
Booker. Wait, can I say
So now we're just gonna
something?
move on to our.
Devin Booker is top 4. That's why I
Yeah,
put him there. He's a great player, great raw scorer. But and I really like his game.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go to our top 3. I had on my third spot was Bradley Beal.
My third spot, I put Donovan Mitchell
number 3.
for the reasons that we talked about earlier.
I also put Bradley Beal.
I also put Bradley Beal, like 30.5 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 6.1 assists, right? Like these are kind of like MVP numbers, you know. Like, and he's the second most leading scorer. He's like, he's clutch and he's kind of carrying the league right now. That's why I put him there.
Okay. I think our top 2 would all be the same.
Yeah. So a reason why Aakarsh has Mitchell all the way up here is because he has Bradley Beal down in his list. But it should be pretty unanimously. We think that Bradley Beal
He is underrated.
I think he's also underrated. He's not.
Yeah, that was
he didn't make the All-Star team this year.
And he's in the East. That's what disappointed me.
That's true.
But then again, Devin Booker didn't originally make the All-Star team either.
Okay, guys.
And he got into it, but he got in. That's all that matters.
Yeah, true. Because Paul George was injured. Okay, guys. Right before we go into our. Okay, now we'll talk about our top 2 players.
Yeah.
So I think all of us should have similar top 2 players. It just depends on who we're positioning it. But I think
James
all of us
Harden
have
obviously won.
Jimmy Butler 2
Yeah,
and
I have
James
those
Harden
2.
1.
Jimmy Butler number 2, James Harden number
Does
1.
everyone have that?
Yeah.
Sid, do you have that?
Okay.
Sid, I'm pretty sure you have that too, right? Okay, so those 2 I think is pretty obvious why they're in 1 and 2. James Harden is the best scorer in the league according to advanced stats. I don't believe so. I think it's Kevin Durant when he's healthy, but that's a different discussion for a different time. Jimmy Butler this year, he rose the ranks because of how he's helping this Miami Heat team. He changed the culture there. It looks like he made a genius move in free agency, and he's should be all NBA player. He was an all-star already, and I think he's entitled.
The Heat are the only team that can genuinely put up a fight against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And that's only because of Jimmy Butler stepping in and being the brute for that team and showing that team how to play. I mean, he's led them to 40 plus wins, and the Bucks have like 53. The Bucks maybe a higher seed, but I think the Heat's defense can really compete with the Bucks. And
compared to the rest of the East, I also think that too.
I actually put Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was my main option, but as a second option for number 2, I said Luka Doncic, considering that he can also play both guard positions, like he was averaging great numbers too. That's why.
We consider him a small forward. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you obviously Luka would be there.
Forward, yeah. And then I think it's pretty obvious why James Harden is number 1. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. So thank you guys for listening. thank you guys for listening to this episode. Thanks, Sid, for joining us as guest speaker. He's gonna be on for another couple episodes.
Bye.
Once again, thank you guys for listening.